3 weeks while you were in a coma." Lydia looked out the window, then down at her lap. "I remember," she whispered. "I'm trying to make sense of it." "Yeah, me too." Mort regretted his bark and softened his tone. "Like I said, you look good." The waiter returned. They were silent as he placed drinks in front of them. Mort nodded his thanks while Lydia stared into her glass. "You happy up here?" he asked. "I have no right to happiness. You more than anyone should know that." Mort couldn't imagine how she managed the burden of living with what she'd done. "What's past is past," he whispered sharply. He took a sip of his scotch and shifted gears. "What have you been up to on this island?" Lydia looked away. "How's your son?" Mort allowed her the evasion. "Robbie's fine, working the book tour circuit. It's part of the gig, I suppose. The Fixer's selling big." Lydia's face reflected a fear as constant as her heartbeat. "Relax, Liddy. The book's about the Fixer's exploits. Only you and I know who's who." She gave him a reluctant nod. "And that binds us till death, doesn't it?" Mort tried to keep the conversation light during their meal. The salmon she recommended was source enough for polite table chatter. It wasn't until the waiter brought them coffee and hazelnut mousse that he tried again. "My life's simple." Lydia focused on the candle's glow. "I get up, I walk the beach, I prowl the village, I write." About what? Mort didn't need any record of what they'd done. Lydia looked out at the darkness over Saratoga Passage. "Journals, mostly. Getting my thoughts down." "Sounds like something you'd prescribe one of your patients. You keeping names out." He hated the selfishness in his voice. He'd gotten himself into this and would have to deal with any fallout. "I'm glad it's helping." "I didn't say it was." "How about that guy who kept visiting while you were in your coma? Oliver, right? He been up to see you?" She traced an unseen design on the tablecloth. "No one but you knows I'm here." Lydia stayed silent for a while. "It's better that way." He glanced over his shoulder and saw their waiter delivering strawberries and cream to an elderly couple across the room. Mort leaned close. "Maybe it's time to see someone, Liddy. Get some help." She blinked. "A psychologist? Is that what you mean?" "Maybe the doctor could take her own medicine." Mort hoped his voice conveyed the concern he felt. "And say what, Mort? Can you help me, please? You see, while everyone thought I was a dedicated clinical psychologist, I actually spent 6 years as an assassin. What words of wisdom do you have to help me cope?" "Think that would work?" He looked again to make sure no one overheard them. "Liddy, it's done. I've told you dozens of times, those people you took out." He had a long drink of water and held his napkin to his lips. "The world's better with them out of it." "So I should explain to my shrink I was a force for justice? A righteous vigilante? Maybe I should fill them in on the details, dates of kills, methods." Lydia's voice was barely a whisper. "They'd diagnose me as psychotic. Deluded by your son's bestseller into thinking the Fixer's exploits were my own. They'd have me in a padded room before sundown." She paused. "Maybe you think that's where I belong." Mort wished he could reach into her, pull out the torment, and cast it into the sea coursing around her island of exile. "That was then, and this is now. And you're not in this alone. I'm the one who covered it up."